They say there's a name so ancient that even the angels fear to speak it. A name not erased by time, but sealed by divine command. That name is Abaddon, the Destroyer. The angel who was not cast out for rebellion, but imprisoned for a purpose. Why? Because God himself locked him beneath the abyss until the day judgment begins. For centuries, humanity has believed evil runs free. But what they don't know is that something far worse waits beneath the earth. A being that does not move without permission. A force that cannot act without the voice of the Almighty. And the most terrifying part is that the signs show his prison is beginning to shake. Scripture names him clearly. From the bottomless pit rose smoke, and out of the smoke came beings with power to torment mankind. And their king is the angel of the abyss. His name is Abaddon. But this story is not a distant prophecy. It's a warning for our time. Because if the seal that binds him were to break, the world would never be the same again. Stay until the end of this video, because I'll reveal who Abaddon truly is, why God created him, what he's doing while he waits, and when his seal could finally shatter. This is not a myth, not a movie script. It's pure biblical prophecy, and it may already be unfolding. Abaddon was not created like the others. He was not born to tempt, nor to destroy for pleasure. He was formed with a specific mission, a divine reason that even the prophets feared to understand. The Bible mentions his name only once, and yet his shadow stretches across every prophecy of the end. His story begins before the creation of man, when heaven itself was divided between light and darkness, when the laws of judgment were still being written. At that moment, God designed forces with opposing purposes, some to guide, others to restrain. Abaddon was made to restrain chaos, but something happened. When sin entered the world, what was meant to remain sealed began to breathe through the cracks of the abyss. Scripture says his prison lies in the bottomless pit, a place that is both spiritual and real, a realm where time and judgment stand still, where God's decrees rest in silence, awaiting one final command. And there is Abaddon, not dead, not free, but waiting, bound not by iron, but by the will of the Creator. Many ask, why would God allow something so dangerous to exist? And the answer is as terrifying as it is perfect. Because judgment cannot be carried out without its executor. Abaddon is not God's enemy. He is his instrument, a sword kept until the appointed time. When he is released, he will not act out of revenge. He will act out of obedience. And perhaps the signs we see today, the world's confusion, the collapse of morality, the chaos disguised as progress, are not mere coincidences. Perhaps they are echoes of a weakening seal. The world doesn't see it yet, but the divine clock is moving, and the sound we hear in every disaster may be the breath of Abaddon waiting for his moment. If God keeps him hidden, it's because his hour has not yet come. But when it does, there will be nowhere to hide. The name Abaddon doesn't appear by chance. It emerges at the darkest moment of revelation, when the fifth trumpet sounds and heaven itself trembles. John writes what he sees trembling. I saw a star fall from heaven, and the key to the pit of the abyss was given to him. Smoke rose, and from the smoke came creatures never seen before. Their king is called Abaddon the Destroyer. That's not a metaphor. It's a coded message, a direct warning to the modern world. Abaddon is not a mere demon, nor a poetic symbol. He's a real entity, an instrument of divine judgment, a force sealed for millennia, waiting for one single word, now. For centuries, religious leaders have avoided mentioning him. Why? Because his existence shatters the comfort of a God who blesses but never judges. Abaddon doesn't represent evil. He represents the end of mercy's extension. And when that boundary breaks, there will be no negotiation. Ancient writings, erased from modern sermons, suggest the abyss is no ordinary place. It exists in a dimension where God's decrees remain active, and inside that void, Abaddon listens. He hears the cries of the earth, the wars, the hatred, the confusion, and he knows his hour is drawing near. Imagine the silent terror of a being who never sleeps, who has watched every generation decay a little more, waiting for the divine command that will crack open his prison. The signs are already here. Earthquakes in unheard places, blood-colored skies, violence rising, morality collapsing, nations preaching peace while manufacturing war. The Bible foretold that before his release, the sun would grow dark and the air would fill with smoke. That smoke isn't just literal, it's spiritual. A veil hiding what truly unfolds behind the global chaos. And when that smoke clears, the key will turn. Abaddon will not rise screaming. He will rise executing. His purpose isn't to spread fear, it's to carry out justice. Each trumpet was a warning, but the fifth is a door. And behind that door waits the angel of the abyss. Low prophetic whisper. The world believes hell rules on its own, but the abyss remains sealed by divine order. And when God decides to open it, judgment will not ask for permission. For centuries, churches, governments, and scholars have remained silent about Abaddon. Not because he doesn't exist, but because his story disturbs every seat of power. There are subjects whispered only in ancient manuscripts or behind closed doors in the Vatican. And one of them is this: why would God keep a destroyer sealed? Some researchers believe that the abyss where he dwells is not only spiritual. It could be a dimension locked between worlds, a place where time doesn't flow as ours does. There, according to ancient writings, rest judgments not yet carried out. Could Abaddon be awake, watching, waiting for the signal that activates his divine mission? There are clues, Hebrew records speaking of a well of silence, ancient tablets describing a key that only the Most High can turn, and mystical testimonies claiming to hear a living echo beneath the earth. But here's where things grow unsettling. Why does the modern world censor every serious conversation about the abyss? Why do even official theologians avoid saying the name Abaddon? Because acknowledging that a divine controlled force exists, capable of executing judgment at the precise moment, destroys the illusion of a universe ruled only by chance. Silence, then, isn't ignorance, it's strategy. While humanity distracts itself with its own inventions, prophecies quietly progress. Every crisis, every war, every global disorder could be another piece of the stage being prepared. And here comes the theory few dare to mention. What if the powers exploring the depths of the earth, those experimenting with portals of energy, or drilling deep in forbidden regions, were unknowingly weakening the seal? This isn't science fiction. The Bible speaks of keys and spiritual gates, and if any of that were literal, what would happen if man, through curiosity, touched what God himself sealed? The Apostle John warned, "When the pit is opened, the smoke will darken the sun." Perhaps that smoke is the confusion covering the world today. Biblical conspiracies aren't always myths. Some are echoes of truths intentionally silenced. And among them all, the mystery of Abaddon. Maybe the one that terrifies the informed the most. Because if the seal opens, mankind will not be the one in control. Listen closely. For centuries you were told that Abaddon was a distant shadow, a name buried in ancient pages. But what almost no one knew is that his story didn't end in the Bible. It was only beginning. In rarely seen archives, Hebrew tablets sealed with wax, fragments found in desert caves, there are accounts of a guardian of the boundary, a being entrusted by God with a task no other angel dared accept. Abaddon witnessed the first dawn, when light and darkness were divided, and he was commanded to make sure they would never merge again. When humanity crossed that boundary, God did not destroy him, he sealed him, and said, "You will sleep until mankind confuses light with darkness once more." That day, the seal will open. The shocking part is that signs of that awakening are already here. The ancient symbol, a circle marked 7 times, has reappeared in excavations, art, even deep energy laboratories. Coincidence? Or a reminder that the guardian is stirring beneath our feet? Recent theological studies reveal that Abaddon means not only destruction but also revelation. His role was never to erase creation, but to unveil what was hidden. So when Scripture says, "The abyss will open," it may not be fire that rises, but truth. Truth about origins, the fall, the unseen forces that shaped history. a truth so ancient it could shatter the illusions of the modern world. Perhaps that's why you feel the air shifting, why something vast approaches though you can't define it. It isn't fear, it's spiritual memory. The human soul knows when the veil is lifting, and then comes the ultimate revelation. Abaddon is not God's enemy. He is his oldest guardian. The keeper of boundaries humanity chose to forget. His return won't be a war of fire, but a war of truth. Because when truth rises, everything hidden begins to tremble. The book of Revelation leaves a lasting mark. They have as king over them the angel of the abyss, whose name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and in Greek is Apollyon. Revelation 9:11. Hidden among trumpets and judgments, that verse reminds us that even the most feared beings exist under divine authority. Abaddon's power is not unleashed chaos. It is the boundary God set so that humanity would remember that every force answers to a higher voice. The prophets understood it. The Lord is slow to anger but great in power. The Lord will not leave the guilty unpunished. Nahum 1:3. That is the heart of the mystery. Divine patience is not weakness, it is warning. And when mankind mistakes that patience for silence, the seals begin to tremble. Now that you know the story, look at the signs differently. Every fragment of the modern world, war, confusion, spiritual weariness, is not an ending but a reminder. A reminder that truth is still written, waiting for those brave enough to see beyond the smoke. Revelation was never meant to spread fear, but to awaken understanding. Those who read it with fear miss the message. Those who read it with faith find direction. Subscribe now and join me for the next chapters as we unveil the remaining seals, the signs Jesus spoke of in Matthew 24, and the mysteries linking ancient prophecy to our present. Turn on the bell and comment below. I'm still awake. I want to know more. Because what's coming isn't meant to frighten, it's meant to enlighten. Darkness fears only one thing, those who understand the truth.